Good evening. Hey, I just had to get on tonight and talk about real love. Um, there has been so much, even in the news, regarding real love and people's desire for it, and they're wanting this deep desire in their heart. There's actually a story that captured my attention this week, and there were some hikers at El Capitan in Yosemite National Park. And it would have completely blown past my radar had I not had a dream a couple weeks ago where I saw El Capitan. And so I'll just look at my phone and I see that same picture and I'm like, okay, attention. And I didn't find out until the next morning what had actually happened. So there was a rock slide, which we knew on Friday, but we did not know exactly who was hurt, what the cause was, and um, what happened was during this rock slide, there was a husband and wife who were climbing, and this rock falls. The husband sees it coming down, and he shields his wife, keeping her from certain death. But in the process, he dies himself. And I was just blown away by that. I was blown away by seeing a real life example right there in the news, right there in the headlines. And, today the news is so bad that I rarely, it's like I get bits and pieces, and I really don't want to watch the news. But I'm glad that this caught my attention um, for many reasons, just because it's that picture of the word talking about a man laying down his life. It talks about in the word that a man is to lay down his life for his wife, and we saw that happening, and it was so beautiful. But then we had this stark contrast as well with everyone talking about the death of Hugh Hefner, and so we had this beautiful picture of committed love, and then we had a picture of the sexual revolution. And I feel like it's a war that we're watching happening in the culture, but it's kind of seeped its way into the church. And that's something I've spent the last year researching and even writing about. Um, and it's heartbreaking. I mean, I hear stories from women. They're getting constantly hit on by guys, and not just hit on, but like it's about a one night stand. It's about that thing. And the way of chivalry, the way of old fashioned love has just gone. And just the pain, the heartache, and just even people getting to the point to where they can even try. Um, but I'm here to tell you that there's real love out there. There really is real love out there. And we see these examples, and I think that example of that husband and wife was highlighted just to let people know that it exists. Like, it's not a fantasy. You actually can dream again. It's actually real. And um, and it comes from the Lord. Like, that kind of love comes straight from him. It comes from his heart. And the more that we encounter him, the more that we fill ourselves with him and those godly principles that we all know to follow, the more that grows and the more we can be that person. And so if you're out there and you're in the waiting, I want to encourage you, start just doing that. Start believing again in the Lord's faithfulness and doing all the spiritual disciplines that you know to do. I mean, get yourself to church, get in the Word, pray, get in fellowship, and develop yourself as that person. One of the things in my journey, as I had a journey of, I called it rolling out the welcome mat. And one of the things that I did was I developed myself in the Lord. In that time, in that waiting, and I honestly was looking at all these things that I wanted in someone. And what I really wanted was to be that person. So I set out to start becoming what it was that I was looking for. And in that process, I found um, my husband. And it's as simple as that, but then it can feel really complicated. So, um, my message tonight is just to not give up, because we can see such a stark contrast between what the world's doing and, you know, what our ideal is. And I get this message from ladies are talking about um, just these shallow, superficial relationships. A guy just wanting to like look at the outward appearances, and you know, as much as you can, if you can focus on what it is that you need to do, um, and you keep going after the Lord and keep going after what it is He's saying, you can, like, that's the important thing. Like, I go into depth and detail about all these things, but I just had to come and just to say a little bit tonight, because there's times I'm about to make another video and then I don't, and I'm about to make a video and then I don't. And tonight I'm like, you know what, raw, unrefined, whatever, I just want to get on and encourage you ladies to not give up, to keep pursuing the Lord, keep pursuing your dreams and the goals in your heart, um, because your life is not over. You know, and it sure beats just sitting around waiting on the promise. So if you're actively involved in your life, actively involved in shaping your character in the way, that's super important, and that's valuable. And the more that you're in that place and knowing how God's affections for you and how He feels about you, and being in that place of feeling whole and loved, it's an attractive thing. And that inner confidence begins to radiate out. And before you know it, you know, um, you're in that relationship, you're in that place. And um, so the real love is out there. And, you know, we've got those pictures, we've got the things that are happening in the world. But I want to encourage you to fight for that dream and fight for that relationship that you want and that you desire. So that's all I've got. Just a real quick one. And so God bless you tonight.